Welcome, everybody, to the Genesis Mindset. And this is episode 2 of the Atropa Movement. And the first one was about a month ago. We had Criptocharla, we had Maddie, and we also had Sunny the detective join. So that was the first time that tried to instigate this idea of the Atropa Movement that was pushed by one of my friends who really encouraged me to do this. So today's episode, we're going to actually be introducing again Maddie and Zach, so we'll bring them up. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about their experiences in Amsterdam. So say good day, fellas. How we doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Happy to see you, Steve.
Hey, great to be here.
Good to see you guys again as well. It's been a while. I mean, it's a bit weird to say that. We just said it like 5 seconds ago, but yeah. Oh, no, good to see you guys. So, like I said, backstage, what I'll do is we'll just start by going over the mindset. I believe this is a huge part. The more that I'm learning about the Atropa ecosystem and what it actually is, I think the mindset is so key, especially when I think about things like BFF. So what I want to do is the whole point of this was to talk about the 10 key mindsets. So I'm just going to very briefly go over the 10 key mindsets, which, again, this is just what I think is something that's fundamental to the Atropa movement and what we're actually trying to do. We're trying to push a positive mindset out so that we can create a positive consciousness and create a positive blockchain. So the 10 mindsets are gratitude, humility, selflessness, acceptance, and abundance. So they're the first 5. So in more detail, I went into the more detail in the Atropa movement, the first one. And then transparency, so everything is on the blockchain, so everyone can see everything. Trustworthiness. So these are the kind of qualities that I believe that we should all embody as a community. Collaborative, working together to win together, sharing, having a sharing mind so that we can help each other and help those that are in need. Instead of criticizing and mocking, we actually help and lend a hand. And respect, so respect for each other and respect for the ecosystem in general. So what I'll do is I'll put that back off stage now. So boys, how are we? How's Maddie? You're still in Europe, yeah? You're on mute, Maddie.
Oh, true that. Sorry. I had to mute it a little bit. My nephews are playing in the background and I didn't want to make you white noise. Yeah, I'm still in Europe about another 2 weeks. And then I'm back in the jungle. I enjoyed my summertime here and I'm going to be happy to be back in the green too.
Is the Pulsechain Tour still going, or are you just spending a little bit of extra time in there?
Still going. The other guys are on the cruise right now with Axis and so on. And then next weekend we got now Lisbon's just coming up right now. And then we got Munich on the 13th of July, which is the next weekend. And then for me, it's over. It's still a London event a week later, but I'm about to fly out. I have to live my life again too in the jungle. I'm missing my house and my pets and so on, and I can't be gone for a year. So yeah, it's about time.
Got to get back to working on that house. So, And yourself, Zach?
Yeah, so I got back to Thailand last week. I spent a little bit of time in Europe, about 10 or 11 days before coming back. But yeah, it was a great time, honestly. Stopped in Italy first, and then went to Amsterdam, went to Barcelona, then Paris, and then Stockholm, Sweden. And I just did a couple nights at each place. So it was a really fast trip. But it was a great experience. It was a lot of fun, especially going to Amsterdam and meeting everybody. That was really the highlight, honestly.
So those other places that you visited, that was just your own personal thing that you just visited them on your own, or you went with some friends, or?
Yeah, no, I just went with on my own with my girlfriend. It was cheap to fly around Europe. Obviously, you can take a train, you can take an airplane, but it's really pretty much just as cheap to fly most places that it is to take a train too. Because when you get a train, you got to get a pass, and you can get it for it's a certain amount of trips you can take, and it just seemed like it was just easier to fly to a couple different places, and it wasn't too bad price wise.
Nice. So you had a lovely time.
Yeah, no, most definitely. It was really cool to meet up with everybody in Amsterdam and kind of put faces to names, people that we've been talking to and things like that. So just really cool to see for sure.
Lovely. So why don't we dive into that a little bit? So first of all, Maddie, how was your experience at Amsterdam? How's your experience with the Pulsechain Tour been so far, and what differentiated Amsterdam? Obviously, Maria was there as the keynote speaker.
That was great. I'll be honest with you. I mean, that's the first time I'm taking part in events like this. I'm actually not just on the camera or just on Telegram chatting with people. And like Zach already said, it's way different if you put a face actually to a person you see online on a screen. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing with Maria in Amsterdam, for me personally, was amazing. Also meeting Zach, meeting a lot of people that already was like great to see these guys, and sitting next to Maria for about 2 hours and just talking to him and shoot the shit, you know, not just being like only crypto talk, but meet the person, get to know his character. And looking into his eyes gave me a whole different level of trust of what we had in the first 10 points about mindset. I definitely can feel that I have a lot more confidence in the whole thing now, knowing that it's not just like a random guy that's, you know, the interview screen, you know, in Zurich, but actually asking my own questions. So I really enjoyed that. And Berlin, I also really enjoyed. I had to translate like 6 hours from American English to German because there's quite some older audience that couldn't understand English. So I was talking and being a translator all day. That was quite exhausting, but I also like, it's nice to give something back to the community, man. I really enjoy that, you know, like you're doing it on screen with all the explanation videos. Now, I was happy that I could actually give something positive to the community, even if there's red candles and everybody's like medium crying about the performance of crypto right now. I feel like it's better to build, no?
Oh, and so what about yourself, Zach? What was it like? Just tell me what it was like. Just tell me, you guys just go with the flow, what you feel like talking about your experience. I don't know if you've shared your experiences with people since you've been back home, but I'd just love to hear what it was like.
Yeah, so basically, the hotel that they picked out was actually a really nice place, and it wasn't very expensive. When I walked in, like the lobby was beautiful, and like this, like the first, that was just the first thing I noticed was like, oh, this is like a really cool kind of like techie, like modern kind of hotel. And then the rooms were great. Basically, the first day was just like a little meetup at this bar on the top floor. So there was like a cocktail party. And I just walked upstairs, or I walked into the restaurant, and then there's like a cocktail lounge to the back. That's where everybody was at. But when I walked in, immediately to my left, I saw, you know, I forget a lot of people's names now. But, you know, the 414 Dev was there. Steady Pup was sitting there. You know, fuck. I can't believe Listen, so yesterday was the 4th of July, right? And so I got kind of drunk here in Thailand yesterday. We had a bit of fun, so I apologize. I'm a bit slow today.
So you got a foggy mind.
Looking to my left and seeing a big group of people. There's probably like 15 or so people when I walked in there, and it kind of just started to grow and grow as the night went on. Everybody was drinking, but basically just sitting on these little couches and chairs, kind of just like all like talking to each other, shaking hands, getting to know everybody. But that was basically the point at which I got to talk to Maria and kind of have like a one-on-one conversation for a little while, which was really nice. You know, the guy is a really great guy, and all of the positive intentions that we feel like they have, it's super, super true. They really want nothing more than just to help everybody out and like for people to make it, basically, you know. That was the reason why they chose Pulsechain to launch all these Atropa tokens, because, you know, they've been following Richard for a long time, and they have the same ethics, basically. So it was really nice to do that. Then the second day was the conference. There's a bunch of different speakers. I did not stay for every single one of them, but I stayed for the majority. But yeah, it was really cool to see just different perspectives, different people coming up and talking. I know one guy came up and talked about this like this hydroponic plant growth system that he's creating. Yeah, and he's like
aeroponic. Need to say, but it's aeroponic. Yeah, it's like it's not water, you spray through it. Sorry, I'm a permaculture guy, so not trying to correct you here.
All good. Yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty neat. And then being able to watch the 414 developer give his speech was really cool. it lasted quite a while, honestly, longer than the set time was for. And I got to ask a couple questions, a bit about like the BFF liquidity placements and stuff like that. But yeah, all in all, it was a really great event. Really cool to meet all the different people in Pulsechain. Everybody that I met there was super, super nice, super, super friendly, and just wanted to build the camaraderie. I guess that's kind of what everybody was doing. It seemed like.
Nice. So let's just. I'm very curious from both of you. Start with Maddie first. So what was your conversation like with Maria? So you did the interview. You asked a lot of good questions. You asked questions from other people's questions as well. What was it like actually? So first of all, on a personal level, you said you got to know him a little bit. What was that like? Like, I'm sure everyone's curious about who Maria is.
I'm very impressed, I mean, I studied ethnobotanics. I'm a pretty broad educated person who likes to learn about pretty much anything in life. And talking to him I was seriously impressed. I have a friend who studied in Harvard who got like an internship. Like he pretty much is like one of the most intelligent persons I know on the planet. And after talking to Maria, I'm honest with you, I felt like that's a whole different level of intelligence from how much broad. I mean, I'm a linguist too, and I asked him about why he was choosing these languages and all these questions. Unfortunately, not all of this is on camera. The conversation was way longer than the actual filmed one. But I mean, that's also why I'm here, because I thought like quite some stuff that he told me personally is not on camera, but is very, very interesting. And I thought it would be good to share that with the rest of the people. So I thought like, who else to share with than with my buddy Steven and Zach. I mean, Zach probably had the same thing, and he also talked to him about a couple of things that are not on camera. And I'm not going to talk about his personal stuff with Maria, because I mean, that's his choice to make that public. But knowing him, he's just a super open-minded, good-hearted, super intelligent guy, from my opinion. Doesn't mean that I know him since he's 5 years old. But before I had my doubts, kind of like also slight doubts about some stuff. And the first question I asked him was like, crypto so often is not really redistribution of money from the bottom, from the top to the bottom, but from the bottom to the top. And that's a problem I have, because I'm not trying to get rich people richer. I'm not in favor of that whole thing. I'm in favor of like distributing wealth among people who might really need it, no? And knowing that he has shared that passion and he's actually developing Atropa for being non-exploitable was probably the first thing that really blew my mind. That it was his whole ethical background was to be not exploitable. And yeah, man, I mean, like, we can go into detail questions about other things that he told me, but generally I would say, like, I don't also want to make into a monologue. I would pass on the word to Zach what his impression was about Maria.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what your impression was as well, Zach.
Yeah, same as yours, really. The few things that I talked to Maria about were, one of the main ones was they had spoken in the IRC logs a long time ago about at some point they plan to move their Atropa tokens into DAON at a certain point. And they said that's how they're going to make their money, is by moving their funds into DAON and then doing whatever they want with them at that point. But I was asking them if that was still the plan, because that was like months and months ago, probably just like a month or so after the IRC had opened, that they had said that. So that was one of the questions that I had asked, and they said, yes, that is still the plan. So I needed that confirmation, I guess, because nobody really talked about it for a while. So that's actually a pretty big deal if you think about it, because I think the 414 developer has like at least 1 or 2% of Atropa, and moving that amount of funds into DAON later on will have a pretty significant impact on the price of DAON. So it's good to be invested early into that one, I think, just to kind of front run that trade. Not financial advice, obviously, anything can happen, but that's where I put my money for now. And then I also asked them about the independence token, right? So I had a theory about the independence token that, it was basically like leverage on the entire Atropa ecosystem. And so I said that to Maria, and he like kind of smiled and laughed. He's like, yep, you're exactly right. Basically he was saying how all the different liquidities that are in LP with stay of proceedings, right? There's like 650, I think, different tokens that are connected to that. All basically the top holders of that token are LP contracts. But basically with the way that those are all set up and how that Stay of Proceedings token is the #1 token tied to independence, and it's got like over 50 or 60% of the supply in that LP for independence with Stay of Proceedings. And then the second two tokens that have the highest LP with independence are Down and Atropa. So I just look at independence and I kind of see just like a general leverage play on top of the entire Atropa ecosystem, because if smaller tokens in the deeper portion of Atropa go up, then Stay of Proceedings is going up, and that's bringing up independence. But even if PDI is going up, that's going to be bringing up Atropa, obviously, at the same time, which is bringing up independence. And then if anything below Down goes up, which is below Down, there's many different tokens like Bullion, Poppy, and other ones, obviously. When those go up, independence will go up too. So I kind of just looked at it as like a broader kind of leverage play onto the Atropa ecosystem. So those are the kind of two things that I had really tried to focus on when I talked to the dev about, because those were the things that were just kind of like on my mind the most. And then the other one was like BFF. We talked a bit about BFF in the community, how we have these like price targets and goals for the community to reach. So we just talked about that and like how it's going, and basically they feel like it's going pretty well compared to how well people are being onboarded to Pulsechain. Basically, not many people are coming yet, and so
that's true.
For us to be able to hit that 8K mark a few times, that's pretty significant in my mind and the developer's mind as well. They do sorry, they do understand that Pulsechain is going to see brighter days in the future, and that this 8K has been a little bit difficult to get to, but I think just with a little bit more time, we'll be able to see us past that and hold the line. Hopefully.
So I just want to just so people are kind of wrapping their heads around what's being spoken about. So you were talking about independence being leverage on Atropa, and when I brought the chart up, so this is to Atropa. Look at this. Look at this move, man. Look at this move to Atropa. So look how much independence is going to Atropa. So wow. I mean, that's some pretty good moves. I mean, if this continues to do, if it's going to continue to be leveraged, then yeah, these are all the little plays within the Atropa ecosystem that are so cool that you don't even think about them, right? There's so many little opportunities everywhere. So, and then this is the other one as well that you were talking about, Down to Atropa. So this is another cool little opportunity. Oh, damn. Wow. Woo. That's wow. So that's moved since April. Boy, oh boy, look at that. So it's really against Atropa, almost at its all-time high. I had no idea. So yeah, Maria's obviously been taking profits in, well, probably through this process, been taking profits into Atropa. Wow. Okay, fantastic. Oh, sorry, taking profits from Atropa into Down. Is that correct? That's what he was saying, right? That he was taking profits. Down was his profit-taking vehicle, but then he would rotate it back into Atropa.
No, so basically he holds Atropa, right? So the 414 has like 1 or 2% of Atropa, and they're going to move those funds into Down at a certain point. They have not done it yet.
Oh, so they haven't even done it yet.
Yeah, so this ratio is going to go up way more, because when they put all those funds into Down, this ratio is going to go way
ballistic.
Green can.
Right. So then this is probably some of the boys who realized, all right, there's something going on here with Down and Atropa, and they started to push the price up on Down.
Yeah, I think what it is like Down is just getting a bit more recognition now. People are starting to pay a bit more attention to the Atropa ecosystem. If you look at like the holder counts on different tokens, I mean, there's like I think there's like 10K on Atropa, but there's only like 2,000 on Down. But that's been growing significantly. But even when Down was first launched, it was like one of the first tokens, but nobody really paid much attention to it. I mean, the people that got it early and held it, they're doing really well, obviously. But I mean, personally, myself, I didn't really pay too much attention to Down for some reason. I bought into TSFI, I bought Bear, I bought the PDI. But Down, for some reason, I don't even know what it was. Maybe the lowercase d threw me off or something. I don't know. But I don't know. Eventually, people started to learn that it's actually a very bullish token, because Maria's been talking about it in the IRC. They spoke about how they kind of referred to Down similarly to Hex, actually, in the sense that like you earn interest over time, but not in the same way you earn interest in Hex. It's like basically down as leverage on Atropa, basically. But the more and more they started to talk about it, I think the more and more people started to pay attention to it. There are not really many people online talking about it. There's not like influencers chilling down very often.
Moon
so I
used to talk about it back in the day.
Maybe a little bit here and there. I didn't really buy into Down until maybe until after like the big dip that occurred back in like December, January. I think after that is when I thought about purchasing some Down.
Good move.
Yeah.
Good move. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard Moon King talking about Down, maybe back in the day, around about that time as well.
Yeah, no, I think. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say also to help to look at the price predictions that Maria gave out of his little like drawn map that he released, where you could see how many axes you're away from the goal, and Down had a way bigger, so to say, margin than Atropa itself. So the whole leverage idea, same thing with legal and so on, that definitely made people interested in buying into it too. Just having some price targets on it, I feel.
And then look at this. I mean, you've probably got just on the first page here, probably like 60% of it in liquidity pools. So yeah, Down and legal. So these were some of the first tokens that he set up. So Down Atropa. Okay, there we go. All right, so so let's go with you, Matty. So Matty, you were talking about there were some experiences or some things that you didn't get a chance to share that you wanted to share in your conversations with Maria related to crypto that didn't get recorded. Do you want to go over some of those?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I mean, just the end of when we were talking, I could start with then. I was talking about a horse race with him. I gave him the analogy of a horse race, so that he had got like several horses in that game, and then we got cut off. That's why I thought it would be good to continue just for a second right there. Because what I afterwards was said, it's actually not a proper analogy, because in a horse race, only one horse can win. But in his case, several of his games can win, so to say. The P-stables can pack, Teddy Bear can outperform Shiba Inu, and then also Dysnomia might really work well with the organic growth and the burn buy-in. And there's like several ways to reach the goal, but they can all work. It doesn't mean one or the other. And that's the whole difference to a horse race, because in a horse race, there's one number one and that's it. So I thought that analogy is not actually that properly fitting. Hey, nice to see you, VT. First saying hi. You're just about here.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
how are you guys doing? Hi, Steve. Hello. Hey, Zach. How are you doing, man?
Well,
But yeah.
Glad to be here, guys.
Hey, nice to see you, brother. It's been a while since Amsterdam.
It's been a while, right?
All good?
Yeah, all good, man. How are you?
All good. Still in Germany.
Still Germany?
About to go back to Colombia, but it's still enjoying the summer here. It's actually hot. I can't believe it. The last time I was there in winter, and Amsterdam was not hot. I mean, I like Amsterdam, but the weather sucks. Let's be honest.
It's just like England, right? It's just always gray. We have like 2 months summer, so it's nothing. Yeah, I understand. But you're also on the tour. You're on the tour right now, right?
Representing, baby. Pulsechain.
Yeah, baby. Good. Sorry, guys, I was a little bit late. I had some meetings, so but glad to be here.
No problem.
Continue, guys. You were saying something?
Yeah, I was just talking about where the video got cut off. When I was talking to Maria and did the interview, I was just saying that it's not really a horse race. It's more like there's several plans and they all can work out. Also, some might not work out. Even Maria said even if the P die wouldn't pack, that it just Teddy Bear might be enough to make the whole system work. Yeah. And I asked him if there's a way of if this still can fail, and he was like, "No way." He said it to me with a certainty that I was blown away. I was like, "All right." I thought there might be some doubts in his head that this is actually not working yet. And he was like, "No, the math is done. Everything's done. All is built. There's nothing that can go wrong. All the formulas all the math equations are working."
Exactly.
But the craziest thing now I wanted to talk about is his token communication he was talking about, because I didn't get on the camera. He told me that every of these tokens can store information and communicate in between each other in a way that has never been seen, even not having a direct connection between each other. So it's a whole like communication layer that we don't understand yet, that can be used for anything, to build anything on it. Literally games, Twitter, if you wanted to, whatever you want, 100% unhackable. And with a storage function that we don't know yet, because it's actually extending block space way more than we used to know until right now. And I thought that's fucking revolutionary, and that's not on camera. So I thought like that's something I should mention, because there's no point where he has mentioned that on camera, and I feel like it's something revolutionary. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. No, I think I was there. I mean, the Atropa ecosystem, it's the next level IQ, you know. It's just like Richard Hart's ecosystem, but it's different than the ecosystem of Richard, but it's mind blowing. It's very deep to understand what he is doing, but he is very transparent about what he is doing with the burn and the tokens and everything and the ecosystem. And I think he's very genuine, transparent about everything, and it could be a success. I mean, we have to see, of course, what happens. But I spoke to him. He told me a little bit about his background, that he did college in what he's in IT or something. But I mean, the guy knows what he is doing. I'm not so technical what he is doing, but the guy really knows what he's doing, and I think this could be a next step for the Pulsechain ecosystem to grow. I think this will be a very big one. Time will tell, of course.
Grow is the key word there. I think that's what all of Pulsechain needs, and even really the whole ecosystem itself is itself like a growth. So I want to dig into what you said, Maddie. I want to dig a little bit more into that, because that's something where boy, you got me thinking, man. You got me thinking. So can you repeat that first of all? Just simplify that and repeat that.
Right.
That between
I try to make it easier. Now imagine every token can basically be a space for storing data, information on it. No, like so to say, like it's its own little world. But then they're interconnected on a layer that I don't even understand, because there is no obvious connection, and then they can create token rooms where all tokens kind of are in the same room, communicating with each other, creating a web, so to say, like a liquidity web, but an information web. That's about the easiest way to explain. It's not very easy to explain, I'll be honest with you. This is not easy stuff, but like, in a sense, you could store data on it that's dynamically communicating with each other, which makes it very easy for a communication network. Again, I compare it to Twitter, or let's call it Instagram, Facebook, whatever. That's completely decentralized, but you could also use it for a computer game. You could use it for literally any software. So what he's building is a base where you can work on, where you can actually program on, which is not yet released, so to say. But it's there, and I think that's heavily connected also to this Nomia and the idea of organic growth. He calls it himself. It's like it's emulating organic growth, like a mycelium, you know. So to say, like, it's spreading out in different directions and organically growing like it would be a natural phenomenon. That's what he's trying to emulate. So I thought it's, again, genius. I mean, who comes up with these ideas? And I'm not a tech guy neither, you know. I'm a linguist. I'd be able to perhaps imagine what he's saying, but I'm not sitting there like sticker guy and coding with him and be like, all right, I get the code behind it, but I can get at least like the ideas, no?
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
So did you guys get, so just to dig into that, Zach or VT, did either of you guys capture any of that? Did either of you talk about something along those lines with Maria, or get a sense of something along those lines at some point throughout your Amsterdam trip?
I didn't talk to Maria about that specifically, but what he was just referencing, it sounds like dysnomia, right? What I've been reading in the IRC logs for some time now. It seems like this dysnomia new layer is definitely what you just said, like a communications network, where you can go into each different tokens would be like a chat room basically, and you can like leave information there or chat with people, and each token will have its own like chat room basically.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to come. Obviously, all the information has not been given to us. That's for sure. So it's a lot of kind of speculative ideas that are in my head about what it'll look like. I did ask the developer. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to talk about. I did ask the dev how similarly this new game that they're making right inside Dysnomia. I asked how similar it would be to Discworld Mud, right? The game that they had mentioned. They had mentioned it being like their inspiration for Dysnomia. And he said it's not at all similar. So, I was really hoping or thinking that maybe it was going to be like, like this map you see, right? Like we travel around this map and go to different, parts of the world or whatever and do things. But maybe it may be something different. I know it's going to be a tech. He said it will be a text-based game, like Dysnomia or like Discworld Mud was, but. When I asked him how similar the games will be to each other, he said not very similar at all. So
interesting. So again, we're kind of seeing just these concepts of growth and networks, connectivity, like all these nodes, this network. It's yeah, when you said mycelium, that is cool. Have you guys seen this? The story of fungi?
No, I haven't.
There's a great Netflix documentary. I'm not trying to shill Netflix on you guys, but it's called The Miraculous World of Mushrooms or something, or fungi, and it talks about the interconnectivity between fungi and plants, and it's literally like the internet under our floors. Under the soil, and I feel like the emulating of like organic growth on tokens is something amazing. Again, Maria studied divinity studies too, so he's a spiritual person, very spiritual person. Besides the tech thing, which I thought is great to hear for you probably too, Stephen, because he's very much on the same page, brother, than we are in the sense of like,
yeah, man.
He's an open-minded, very, very deep researcher. He researches everything to the core. Even every token name that I've translated all different languages has a beautiful, deep meaning. It's not random at all. Not a little bit random, but like this guy takes research to a whole new level. And then again has a mindset behind it that is exactly what we thinking too. Oneness, unity. Creating connections, so all of your Genesis mindset you're describing, it's just like this thing is growing like on different, even if I'm talking about it, I get like goosebumps. I'm not joking. Like this stuff is really touching me. So I'm so motivated after this conversation with Maria. It's not because of money. Again, I'm not a guy who studied economics to get rich. I'm an anthropologist. I really took a different hold on life, but when I got to know Atropa already, I was like, this stuff has some mystery to it. And when I got down the rabbit hole, now I'm at a point where I'm like, dude, this guy is building something that's not just a little bit revolutionary, but it's like 10 different things that are revolutionary at the same time. And I'm just happy to be part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I think from that perspective, I think it's these kinds of qualities that made me just naturally gravitate towards it. These qualities that I would have seen or felt or somehow intuited. And I think everyone here in some way or another, a lot of people in some way or another have been attracted to Atropa for a variety of different reasons. But yeah, just this idea of wholeness, a totality. And that's why there's always this like misconception. It's very easy to look at what Maria might do with one token, sell it into this token, but it doesn't take into account the totality. I was thinking about this today, and it's like, everything in nature is just one whole, and an apple bears fruit, and then the fruit goes onto the ground and then the possums eat it. You guys probably don't have possums. We've got possums in Australia. Things will eat it. The seeds will go. They'll shit it out somewhere else. It'll grow a tree. Like everything is just give and take, and it's just this flow everywhere. And it's kind of the same. That's what's happening within the Atropa ecosystem. Okay, yeah, arbitrarily you can look at these things like, yes, it is tokens, but the scale that tips between down and Atropa, everything just kind of stays in harmony with the way, and Maria's kind of orchestrating all these things in this kind of perfect or seemingly perfect way. Did you guys get a sense of any of that about how he moves things around and why he moves things around in any of your conversations with him?
I think he talked a lot about the where he started. I mean, if you saw the presentation, in his presentation, he explained everything a lot about the ecosystem, very transparent, the tokens. To be honest, it's still a little bit unclear for me, but I think generally he knows exactly what he is doing, and yeah, it's like a new technology that's new, and on the Pulsechain, and for us it's also new to see how everything works out. It's just yeah.
That's exactly what he's done. That's exactly. He talks about it as a technology.
Yes. It's just, we just need to see what he's just planning to do, and let's see how the ecosystem grows. And but from what I know from his side, I think, especially on the Pulsechain ecosystem, that is most. I mean, he took the Pulsechain ecosystem, not other ecosystem, so that means a lot as well. And I think he generally want to grow the ecosystem, and that's really what he's trying to do, or not trying. I think he knows exactly what he is doing. That's the meaning.
What I want to do is I want to ask you guys. We'll go around. We'll start with you, VT, but we'll end with you, Maddie, because I want to come back to some of the things that you were talking about. But what are some things that you heard that really like struck your heart or struck your mind in a way that's like, oh, wow. And you just had this moment of like either a realization or something here. Like, was there any particular moment or anything that you heard that was like, wow, it really clicked in your heart and in your mind, VT?
Yeah. To be honest, what he doing with the tokens and this, and what he did with the PDI tokens, I think that is amazing. I think what he's planning to do, I think that's yeah, you could say amazed, but maybe like yeah, okay, is that really what he did? And he really did do that. So from his heart that he is building on Pulsechain. But I don't know specific thing. Maybe the other guys maybe knows.
So for you, it was more just a general sense of like, okay, something's going on here.
Yes, exactly. I'm more into the RH ecosystems tokens, but
how new into Atropa? How new into Atropa are you, VT?
Sorry, again?
How new into Atropa are you? When did you discover Atropa?
I discovered it last year. I think around October, November, around November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I bought, of course, I bought a little bit of tokens, but I didn't know what the ecosystem was. So and what it's all about. So it was more a hype, and when we are at the event, and we met Maria and his presentation. Yeah, I think he generally wants to bring something to the ecosystem. That's more my feeling.
Just
And
the overarching feeling of everything that he was saying.
Yes.
Love
exactly. And what he's doing is deep, very deep. But
it.
yeah, it's very deep. Yeah,
Yes.
just to be positive, you know. I'm always positive. Have a great mindset. That's important. And yeah, just keep holding, and let's see what happens this year, next year. And I'm very excited to go to those great times. Right?
Definitely, man. Definitely. So, Zach, before we get to you, Zach, this, I just want to, monkey magic. The words economics and ecology have the same etymology. So fascinating to see him seeming to literally take an ecological perspective with DeFi. And again, these networks, this growing, this living organism. So yeah, I wanted to address that comment as well. And I will get to this question as well, Mitch, eventually. So we'll keep going around, but we will get to this question, Mitch. So stick around for that. So Zach, again, for yourself, was there anything, or maybe a number of things in the talk, or anything that you overheard, or somebody else mentioned that you were just like, oh, it was like this new revelation or realization about what was going on, or something that really struck your heart?
Yeah, well, one of the most interesting things that I think that I've figured out from like speaking with the dev in Amsterdam, and then also just from reading the IRC logs, it seems like the end goal for what they're trying to produce right now is going to be something for like absolute crypto noobs, right? They're going to be very comfortable using the Atropa ecosystem later on. Right now, we're super, super early to all this. There's no front ends for anything for us to do. Like when, people are like using the affection token and they're burning their DAI and minting tokens and things like this. Like these are all contract functions that people are calling themselves, right? There's not like some like front end that people are using to do that. And speaking with the developer in Amsterdam, he told me that like people will just be able to kind of like log into this system and just click buttons all day long, and they'll be able to make like $30 to $40 an hour just by sitting and clicking buttons. And basically what they want to do is kind of just like spread it to the masses to try to basically, I mean, I see it as sort of like a universal basic income sort of deal where people can, in the future, we may have a lot less jobs because of AI and all these other things. So I think this may be a way for people to like kind of still sustain themselves. Obviously, inflation is going up, which is a big issue, right? And we may not see that as such a big issue right now because we're all right. But like, 15, 30, 50 years down the road, we don't know what the situation is going to look like, right? And so I thought that was just really cool, like knowing that we're going to have like these front ends. It's going to be very user friendly, just being able to click buttons to earn $20, $30, $40 an hour. And it's going to be doing all these processes that people are actually calling these functions right now, just on their own. So I think that was probably one of the most intriguing things about the Atropa ecosystem's future that I kind of see coming.
I love that. So there was you got that general sense that was the direction it was moving in. There was something that you overheard, or?
No, I talked to the developer about it when we were in Amsterdam because they had mentioned something about, well, in the IRC, they've been talking about like having a front end made eventually and things like that. And so I asked them in Amsterdam about like this, I just wanted to kind of clarify certain things that I had on my mind. And that was one of them. I was just wondering, like, are we going to have a front end soon or anything like that? He said, no, it's not going to be soon, probably a year or more out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your sense was that this could end up being some kind of universal basic income system.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I got the feeling like, because like he wants people that are, like more that have less money, they don't maybe have a lot of knowledge about crypto, right? So it's going to be really easy for these people to use and to make money in a simple way. Clicking buttons is how he said it.
It's it was, oh man, like just hearing you say that I distinctly remember like months ago talking about these things and like, oh, this could be something where like people in third world countries, I mean, this is what cryptocurrency should be doing. It should be saving those kinds of people that don't. I mean, you look at Axie Infinity, it was a revolution in the Philippines because all of a sudden people that are making no money can play this game and make all this money, but because of the economics aren't the economic system of the way that Axie Infinity and the tokenomics wasn't nailed yet. So obviously the token got too expensive, and then so it wasn't worth actually continuing to play the game. So if something like this actually truly does present something that is truly a decentralized financial system, I keep talking about that, but I really do believe and feel in my heart this actually is a truly decentralized financial system. It's not just, it used to feel like it's just words. Oh yeah, we're DeFi, and you know, we got this cute little thing, Uniswap, where we can click and buy, but you know, we're just going to get rugged. But now it's like it actually is a system. It's a system. There's this living organism that's behind it, and like the concept.
It's gonna pay people to use it in the future. Like people that don't have too much interest in crypto may have a lot of interest in crypto in the future, because they can literally sit down and just click buttons all day long and make a small income.
I remember in the back in the day in the IRC, way back in the day when the questionnaires, I think it was like one of the goals of it was to be like people with $5 to come in and participate in the ecosystem. Like the ecosystem is designed for them in the end. We're kind of like, we're the lucky ones that get to be the kind of guardians or something of the ecosystem, but it's really designed for the little people. And if you think about all the token names as well, all the different languages, it's really like reaching out to as many possible places as it possibly can.
Mm-hmm. No, of course.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that one, Zach. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. I think that's the highlight of, what I thought was like the most interesting thing about Atropa, I guess.
Okay, awesome. Good to clarify those things. What about yourself, Maddie? Was there more? So you were talking about the mycelium. Like, was there anything else that you were like, wow?
Yeah, let's go into the mythology. Or you said I'm an anthropologist. That's kind of my specialty. So why don't you type in atropos, and do a little screen share on Google and see what comes up, because a lot of people think it's Atropa Belladonna where the name comes from, and it's not. It's Greek mythology. It's one of the 3 fates that have the scissors on them. Also, the scissor token comes from that whole idea to cut the twine, like your life, no? Like the human life is a twine, like it's threaded, and then they cut it, so your life is over. And he compared that with the order, because he bought 5 billion P-stables, and he knew the order would never be filled. So he cut the connection and made a new thing called Atropa to give life to the stables. I can also combine it with a question that came in with MakerDAO. I think a lot of people don't understand that he did that on testnet already. If he would not know how MakerDAO would be working, he would not choose PDAI. He just won't talk about it. People try to get a clarity out of him. Again, also in the presentation, he started, I just randomly bought 5 billion P-stables, and then I made Atropa, and people just take that for granted without thinking what he's saying. Who the fuck would do that? Just randomly buy 5 billion P-stables, like, oh, now I develop a token, it's called Atropa, and I burn the liquidity, and this is all being planned. So if you try to get a connection between him and Richard, one of our friends, Koa, asked the question very, very intensively in the presentation. What was his answer? He said, no, I've not met him, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, Richard is an AI. And people afterwards took that for granted. And I had to laugh so hard. I'm like, look, guys, you really don't understand. He's not going to talk about that right now. Are you trying to ask the same question 100 times, one and again and again? And no, he's not going to tell you he's friends with Richard right now and he's working with him for 5 years, just to make that clear. Like, if anybody's trying to get that answer from me, I can't give it to you because I didn't even ask it. What I told Maria is like, I don't give a fuck if you are friends with Richard or work with him. Your system anyway is brilliant. And that's all for me. You know, if you need the connection to be safe, then you might not rather want to buy into this because you're just trying to be on the safest side possible in a highly speculative market. So just be aware of what you're investing into. But let's go into Atropos a second. Give it a click. You see the 3 sisters on the Greek mythology. I feel like that's something that a lot of people didn't understand. It has nothing to do with the plant, actually. The plant is just a bonus that it's called Atropa, you know. But the real name Atropa comes from these 3 sisters that are very important in Greek mythology. So like the whole idea of cutting the faith and building something new, like building a new thread, creating a new life form is Atropa. It's a new life form by itself. That's why it's also organic. It's why it's a living being, you know? And I finally understood that, because I was always, why do you choose a psychedelic plant that is poisonous for your name of your token? Makes no sense for me. Now this makes sense for me. You know, now the whole mythology really saying, yeah, Atropa is a faith and I had to cut it to create something new. Here we go. That's the reason why it's named like this. And I thought, like, that's something so deep. Like, he made himself so much effort to come up with something that is completely coherent from a thought process, that this can't be just randomly made up. This is a thing that he's developing, like he said, from 2006, before he even was thinking about making it on blockchain. So yeah, I just try to say that because a lot of people are like using it as an argument. He doesn't know about MakerDAO. Oh, he just came up with this stuff randomly. And I'm like, are you retarded? Do you even look at any evidence? Are you just trying to fud everything that's about PDime and Atropa without any serious evidence? And it's happening again and again and again and again. And I'm not going to respond on Twitter to this stuff because I have better things to do with my life. But anybody who's selling their tokens, I'm sad for them, because I'm like you just said, we are the audience, hopefully. We are the people who are actually positively working on this together. And if everybody's just in it for the money, then please leave. Because if it's just about the money for you, you don't give a fuck about the technology and the mindset behind it, you might rather not be in this. I'll be honest with you, because I prefer people to actually have kind of a moral, ethical background, that are like you, like all of you that are here right now. I feel we share this. We might not have the same political ideas or exactly the same lifestyle, but the idea of freedom and not being depending on big institutions, I think, is something we really share. And so I appreciate the idea of being part of this, and not necessarily just for short-term gains, you know? And that's something a lot of people are looking for. That's not me.
And just on this point again, this is why I'm so, oh man, yeah, we keep going back to this living being, Ram. So shout out to everyone in the comments, by the way. I haven't been able to address everyone, but I love you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you for joining. If you guys have any questions, and also if anyone was at Amsterdam and they want to contribute to this conversation, you can also join the stream as well. The link is in the description. There's space, I think, for another 2 more people. I can have a max of 6 on my version. But this is why I'm also so big on the mindset, because this is just math. This is just code. And yes, it's going to work to a certain degree. And I think it definitely can't fail. But it's like, okay, this organism, this mycelium has a consciousness behind it. And all these things have a mind behind it. And so we are the mind behind it. So that's why I'm so big on, let's really push this idea of like a positive, getting the right mindset. Because it's just like, you know, when I look at the collectivity around BFF, I think you made a great comment, by the way, Zach. I think I've almost been a little bit too hard on it, on the community in a way, but the fact that it's done so well for such a small community is actually really something that we should be proud of. We really should be proud of that fact. But again, it's like thinking from the perspective of, if I was the being that existed behind Atropa and I was controlling everything as the being, like how would I want to orchestrate things? But I'm not the one being. We're all these individual beings that make up that one being. So that's why if we have the right mindset and we have the right attitude, and not just about greed and just about extraction, like this can really, it can really be something amazing, 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 amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
You just bring something up I forgot to mention. Sorry. I forgot something very important that you just made me come into my mind. And that's something. He's trying to create a system that's pretty much just upside. That's something we haven't mentioned. He's trying to create a floor like on BFF with everything. So if you're a noob to it, you can't lose money. You know, that's the whole idea behind it. Yeah. And the idea is too with Teddy Bear, you know, there's like this arrow going up, because the idea that it goes up forever. not that it goes up one time. The teddy bear is like comfort for everybody who's like getting fucked by this life that is unfortunately often really unfair. I'm living in Colombia, I've been to Kenya and Africa when I was 19. I've seen this world, how unfair it is. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm a very white, privileged dude from Germany, not from a rich family, but still privileged. I'm honest about my privilege. From a country, I got free education, easy way to study, no student loans and so on. And you go to a place where people are intelligent as fuck and they can't change their life because they have no opportunities. So that's really one thing that really motivates me to see that he's building something that comforts this world, because that's something we need so desperately, is opportunities for people that only have 10, 15, like you said, Zach, like $10, $15, $5, and they create income anywhere where they are, as long as they have internet. And I feel like it's something brilliant that Maria is trying to do right there. It's trying to make only uptime, knowing that he's not going to extract his value out of it because he doesn't need to. His CV, his curriculum vitae, this guy is loaded already. He didn't have to do any of this. It's like with Richard. Yeah. They didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
They're already made.
Exactly.
I mean, he did say that in his talk as well. He's like, I'd say everyone here is probably up on their position, which is a very unique thing in crypto where no one is really down. So when you're saying everything is up and to the right, I mean, that's what I'm seeing on Atropa. That's what I'm seeing on DAI. I mean, DAI is not Atropa, but it's bonded to the system. Teddy Bear, BFF. Okay, yeah, there's big pullbacks now. So again, like you go down to, I think it was a Mantissa. Okay, yeah, there's big pullbacks now. But it's still up and to the right. It's still up and to the right, and we're still like the bull market hasn't even started. Like we haven't even had an inflow of people. As soon as people start entering into this system, it's going to balloon out into all the tokens, which is going to continue to go up and to the right because of the way that it's bonded, the way that it all works together. So,
yeah, and as you can tell, I mean, like we need people just to really buy into PDI, and it'll really lift the entire ecosystem. We saw that when the big whale bought in not too long ago. It boosted the price on PDI, I think like 12%, but the rest of the entire Atropa ecosystem went up like 13, 14%, and there weren't any real buys to measure besides that one big buy into PDI. But just really cool to see that how the money can move through these liquidity pools like that and boost up the price of all these tokens, hundreds of tokens, just by one person buying one token.
And that moves the whole thing up. I've definitely heard a lot of people talk about this concept as well. And now, I mean, St. Wolf and I were talking about this the other day. This is a great little buy box for PDI. So this is against the US dollar, but it's entered my little box. So I'm pretty happy about that. Because honestly, I'm looking at this long term. I'm just like, boys, I don't see this failing. I don't see this failing. So any opportunity that I can get this lower, I'm like, I want it. I want it lower so I can accumulate more at these prices as long as possible. Because once this bull run takes off, it's like we're never going to see this again. We'll never see this again. So get it while it's hot off the press.
Mm-hmm. Also, don't forget RH tokens as well. They're all
Bro,
don't forget.
Exactly. But that's the thing about the RH tokens as well. So once the RH tokens all pump, all this just goes
exactly.
Too.
We have an opportunity now to buy low right now, so we can accumulate. And it's last chance.
Definitely.
How many last chances?
Don't forget.
So Chris Crypto, Mantissa. Did you boys hear any alpha on Mantissa?
Shit. I did know what the alpha was. I thought Mantissa was going to be used to like support parts of the ecosystem, I think, from the 414's holdings, if I'm not mistaken.
So
sort of similar to a treasury bill.
I mean, it's heavily linked to PUSDT. So you could argue Mars, one of our Telegram KSB founding members, one of the guys that I'm really looking up to, because he's like an early Hexagon, but then also he was like one of the first people in German talking about Atropa when I only was listening to reading 9iron Capital and so on, and he was like one of the first bigger hexagons who was actually saying, yes, I did the research, yes, I can't see a flaw. He said that Mantisa is pretty much doing the same thing that Atropa is doing for PDAI, for PUSDT, which is creating a liquidity web around PUSDT to stabilize PUSDT. When asked in Zurich, Maria said it's not really the same thing, but if you look at on-chain evidence, it's doing something similar, which is creating like a liquidity web around PUSDT, not just PUSDT, but Teddy Bear is linked to it, BFF is linked to it. And you were saying about the RH coins, also important. There is already connections with eHex, obviously, because we know he bought it, and he has a connection now to his system, and with Ink and No Nukes, which means the whole idea is that both of these systems, the RH core coins and the Atropa system, is kind of like working like a dynamic multiplier on each other. Perhaps that's the word for it. So to say that they're pushing each other to grow. So if the RH coins are going up, Atropa is going to go up. And if the Atropa verse is going up, the RH coins are going up. So it's like a double growth effect, which I think is brilliant.
Symbiotic. I did hear from Almighty, so he was going to join as well, but he couldn't join for a variety of reasons. But Almighty spoke to Maria about Mantissa, and Mantissa is supposed to be like the institutional money's entry into the ecosystem. So however, and I know in Zurich he said it was like the operating part of the whole ecosystem. And yet Almighty, when he had a conversation, said that it was going to somehow be associated with institutional money. So it was going to be their gateway into the Atropa ecosystem. So take that as you will. I certainly took that as something to be extremely bullish about. And Mantissa actually means shouting into the infinity. And I think the awesome little cute little symbol is I think it means something like God or oneness, something along these lines. So again, this whole like spiritual, divine kind of connection. So I mean, I love Mantissa. As soon as I heard Steady Pup, the pup with a steady nature, talk about it and say that Maria was like on the down low saying that definitely should get this, I was like, I'm in. So yeah, I think Mantissa is definitely undervalued. So
I think we probably should talk about Zizek a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about Zizek. Let's talk about Zizek. Oh my Zizek.
Hey, you're imitating his lisp. I don't know if that's a Slovenian thing or if it's actually that everybody's talking Slovenian like this. I'm not a Slavic language guy, but I thought this guy is highly entertaining after I watched videos of him.
Yeah. So in the IRC chat yesterday, the developer from their phone, since they're traveling, said that they're going to be pulling all of their assets from Zizek. So from what I kind of understood, that means that they're going to be probably removing the liquidity pool between Zizek and Bullion 8, which there's like $200,000 or $300,000 in value there. And they let everybody know that they're going to do this on the 9th, right? So if you've noticed, there's been a pretty big dip on Zizek today because people are swapping their funds into something else like down or somewhere else in the Atropa ecosystem, obviously. But they did write in the IRC to let everybody know that this is happening. So if anybody has money in Zizek, you can take those funds and move them somewhere else so that when they remove the liquidity pool, you'll still have your funds basically. So if anybody hasn't done that, I did it earlier, so I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money, but maybe a good idea to swap into something else for now. And maybe in the future, we have to kind of ask the dev what's going on, but I'm thinking it could be possible in the future. Maybe they start a new liquidity pool with their Zizek holdings, because I don't think they're going to be destroying the token itself. I just think that they're going to be removing that liquidity. Then they're going to still have all those Zizek tokens, right? So they could seed a future liquidity pool at some point. who knows? But yeah, at this time, probably a good idea to swap out.
Here we go, Zizek, old mate Zizek. So yeah, again, where do you get this? Where do you get that? So, Maria was talking about one of the big things about this ecosystem was about the ethics and the what was the other word that he used? Ethics and vulnerability, right? And basically telling everyone this is what I'm going to be doing with this token. And obviously the markets responded. So we had a big down wick, so minus 30%. So there you go. So these are the things. So you can front run the move, and it's getting communicated to you in the chat log. So the chat log certainly serves a purpose. I don't really, it's a bit of a headache these days, but yeah, there you go. You were going to say something earlier, Maddie?
Well, yeah, about transparency, I feel like that's exactly what he's doing with Zizek and so on. He's being transparent before he does his moves. So people afterwards were like, oh, he pulled liquidity or something, like it's happening in other projects where it's just, oh, we've just pulled liquidity. And also about the downtime, I mean, we have to be honest, the whole Pulse Latino thing scam did not help the Atropa system neither, because there's a shitload of money got dumped on the market by these people. I don't know who it was. I'm just saying she's not Colombian. I live in Colombia. She's Brazilian, yeah? Don't make any stuff with a Colombian police on it or something. We got enough shit already for all the Narcos shows. Don't put that on to us too. I identify enough to be Colombian to be like, I don't need another trashing of Colombia. She calls herself Pulse Latina. Yeah, she might be Latina, but don't now start talking shit about Latinas. Yeah, my girlfriend's Latina, and she's a good person. So just because there's a paid actress doesn't mean that everybody there is living in a shit country also on or talking shit about these countries. It's not fair, because it's a whole continent with hundreds of millions of combined with Mexico, hundreds of millions of people, and she's just a paid actress, and that's all. Yeah, but that did not help our system. But again, it's giving good entries. I was happy again. I had to DCA again. I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't. I mean, I'm already pretty hardcore invested right now, but I was like, oh God, with these prices, who could resist? And that's a good thing right now for a lot of people who missed the train. I felt like they missed the train. Look how far you're away again from $1. You're at a 400x at PDI. That's something that a lot of people wished for. So you can see a negative. We can all cry now and be like, oh, they sold on us. Or we can be like, hey guys, finally got a good entry again.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Saint Wolf, what's up, brother?
Saint Wolf, what's up, man? How are you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for putting the show together. Good to see everyone.
Yeah, man.
First time meeting Criptocharla. How are you? VT.
Yeah, man.
How are you, brother? Pleasure to see you. I've watched you already.
Yeah.
Enjoyed your content.
Nice content, bro.
Thank you.
You too, Steve.
Thanks, VT.
I watched the unofficial chat you had with Maria or James at the when you guys were in the lobby, I guess it was. That was cool. Cool conversation. Yeah.
All right, thanks, brother. It was just randomly, and then the camera got brought on. I mean, I talked to him before, and I talked to him after. Unfortunately, the camera overheated. It was just the middle of the conversation. We already talked about quite some stuff that I talked to him afterwards about. I'm sure you can see it in what we talked about now, the re-recording. But yeah, it's been. I just said to all of these people, I mean, meeting Maria and talking to him is an experience that obviously not everybody can have, because not everybody's going to see him, but it's highly recommended if you can. If there's another in the States, there's going to be probably a presentation in Washington, I heard. Go there, meet the guy. Cool, it's worth it.
Yeah. Right on. Definitely will do.
Was there anything else that you didn't mention about that conversation, or any other conversation, Maddie, that you had with Maria?
I'll be honest with you. It's a little difficult, because I'm even myself, after talking to him, was so blown away that I was like, God, it was 2 hours of so much packed information that I had to go through it by myself again. I'd just be like thinking about what I might miss out now talking to you guys, because I knew a lot of people were like, oh, where's the rest of the interview? What's happening? What's happening? Please give us more. And I was like, all right, I try to remember every little detail, but I feel like the biggest thing for me was really understanding his background. The first question that you hear on camera is for me one of the most important one, which is I give him my idea of that I don't think that crypto until right now has done so well for the broad audience, only for a few, mostly for people who already had money before, because they can play the game with patience and with knowledge. And a lot of, let's say, poorer people are just desperate for quick money and then they lose. So the whole of like the ethical background is really important. And then the spiritual background is really important. Then again, also the let's say one thing I probably haven't talked about too much is that he's using also there was the moment where I got a little skeptical in the presentation and when he mentioned the word Scientology. I was not freaked out about it, but a lot of people just skipped over it like it never happened. You know, he said like he's using like a Scientological audit ways to. He audited Richard in a Scientological way. That was what he said.
Yeah.
Or background.
I remember that moment. I remember that.
And a lot of people just skipped that because they probably also wasn't too happy if he would be a Scientologist, or Richard might be a Scientologist if you think about the outcome. Now, talking to Steady Pup, props to Steady Pup right here, because Steady and me also had a shit ton of conversations this weekend and in Berlin again, and I really like the dude. He was like, you should more understand it like technically, like he's using technologies from this kind of, let's say, like spiritual technologies.
There's legitimacy to it.
Yeah. And to see like if Richard was an ethical person, not because he is a Scientologist or he thinks that Richard is a Scientologist, but more like he was trying to audit him in all ways to make sure that he is who he says he is. And that's what I got out of it. I'm not saying he's not a Scientologist, might be the case, but from what Steady told me, it's more like he learned some of their techniques and is applying them. For example, also he's using a machine that's supposedly getting waves like out of the ether to make his decisions. And the light spectrum. We have not talked about that one. All of his tokens.
Whoa. Go back to this machine. What did you just say? What?
That's a Scientological thing that I've never heard about before. There is this apparatus that supposedly can measure waves out of the ether, and he uses that like a random decision maker, like a dice machine, so to say, that approves him that the decisions he's taking are backed by the ether, by the oneness. Yep. Maria does this.
Fuck. The fuck?
It's called an e-meter is what it's called.
Here we
that's
go.
The e-meter.
Yeah,
that measures the ether. The e-meter is the thing that's what they use to measure the.
It's called an e-meter.
Having the auditing, right, as well.
Yes, they audit you with an e-meter. Yeah, I used to live in Florida, and I grew up in Clearwater, Florida, and it's like the center of Scientology. So I grew up knowing a lot of Scientologists growing up. And I never had a problem with them. I knew some really smart people. Some really a good friend of mine family was into Scientology. It was cool. I had no problem with me. But I'll never forget that. You know, it became like a much bigger deal as I grew older, and as Scientology became like a negative thing for a lot of people. But I grew up right next to him there in Clearwater, Florida, and they use this e-meter that they measure. And maybe he is. But to tell you the truth, a lot of it's just logic. If you read L. Ron Hubbard's first book, which I've read, Dianetics, it's actually a cool book. You know, if you want to logically hack your behavior and how to function better, it's cool. You know, and when I read Sci-Vibe, I saw a lot of similarities with Dianetics and Sci-Vibe. You know, he's just using a lot of logic and to hack your behavior to make yourself better. And so there's nothing wrong with any of it. You know.
Richard said it in a stream as well.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he said it in a stream. He's like, he said something along the lines of basically you can take something good from pretty much anything, and even their method of how they break people down makes you stronger, and actually is a really powerful method. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never joined their thing, but I read the book a couple of times, Dianetics. It definitely helped me a lot. It was great. It was a great book. And you can separate the cult aspect of it and take a lot of good knowledge from it. And maybe you know, maybe James is into it too. I don't know. I don't know at all if he's in it or not, but who cares? You know,
exactly.
If he's into it. Yeah.
For me, like none of that stuff is really a big deal whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Well, what does it
flaw in
matter?
it is the ego, the human ego. That's the flaw. That's the flaw with all of these groups. Is eventually there is a self-centered self that ends up tainting the collective. So the only thing that can be perfect is when the individuals within it are absolutely flawlessly perfect. Then collectively it can actually it would be the truth. But if there is a self in there, then it's going to fail as a system, because the ego, the self, the human mind is what fucks everything up. So, but just on the e-meter, do you actually like? Yeah, not to pivot too much, but I'm very curious by your experiences with the e-meter. Do you think that, like, I mean, for me, it's like, oh, that sounds like a very valid concept. When I watched the documentary, it seemed like it would be working in the way that they would intend it to.
I don't know. I think I've used one once, because after I left Florida, I moved to California, and I was in Los Angeles, and that was another center of Scientology. And then I ended up, you know, knowing a lot of Scientologists in LA too. And I think I had went to one recommended by a friend, and they sat me down, and I sat down in a chair. I think I held the things, and they asked you a lot of questions. And you know, I don't remember if it was cool, because I remember at the LA place it was very cult-like, and I kind of got freaked out and left. So I didn't get to give it a good, clear assessment at the time. But yeah, maybe it helps ground you. I don't know exactly what they're doing with that thing, how it works, but if it helps someone stay grounded, maybe it checks your electrical waves, and so they're not erratic or something like that. You know, see if you're calm, because that's where your good ideas come from, right? You want to be in that calm state.
The stillness.
The stillness. That's why I think, you know, you were really tapped into Atropa in the beginning. You know, you find that stillness, but you can find it from meditation too. You know, there's a lot of ways to get there, but I guess the e-meter probably senses it in some way, detects if you're, you know, all over the place and anxiety ridden or something. You know, I'm guessing. I don't know I don't know the full science behind it, but or maybe it's nothing. I don't know. You know, maybe it's just what do they call it's like a
Fugazi.
No, it's like the pill, but some things work. You know, what do they call that?
Placebo.
Yeah, placebo.
Oh,
Maybe
placebo.
it could be a placebo.
Placebo.
But if it helps,
So you were
it helps,
saying,
great.
Matty, that he uses this e-meter basically he used the e-meter to discern whether or not Richard was an ethical character.
Oh, for his general decision making, also for tokens.
And he uses it still in his general.
Yeah, he's still using it for decision making. Again, a steady pop information. I did not talk to him about it, but something we also should mention is the light wave. I asked him if he's using holy geometry for his concept of liquidity webs, or if he has some kind of inspiration by it, and he was like, no, but the light wave function. So to say, the visible light wave from its beginning to the end is his inspiration for his tokens.
Wow.
Pure light.
Wow.
The light wave function.
Yeah, that's what he's using to get inspired for his tokens. So to say, like, the light wave has a beginning and an end for our visible eye, and he's using these numbers that are in the light wave function to create tokens.
Okay, so is this the light waves? So electromagnetic wave.
Like so to say, there is a spectrum that's visible and it goes into gamma. No, he's just talking about the visible part.
The spectrum. Okay, the light wave spectrum.
That's not a function, it's actually a spectrum. Here we go. Sometimes a little tough to translate everything in my mind, but that's what I wanted to say.
Man, your boy, I made a video on this shit, comparing it to like the market psychology, and using basically the light wave spectrum to talk about the market psychology. So, man,
I think what we can extrapolate is that he is looking for purity. He's looking for nature, for his design, for design, and that's good. You know, that's
right.
Great.
It is, because
Nature
anything
is
that
the
reflects
ultimate.
nature works.
It works, of course, yeah. So we can look to nature always for inspiration, and light is the purest form of nature because all things began from vibration. Light is vibration, sound and light. It's fundamental to creation.
This is why the mind of the people is so important, in my opinion, because light is also consciousness. Light is God, and God is consciousness. Whether you call it God as like the bearded man or the one that scolds people and whatever, creates wars or whatever, however you interpret it, or if you just interpret it as, oh, it's the electromagnetic field, it's the quantum field, or however you talk about it, that thing, that existence has a consciousness, because everything has a consciousness and everything is just a derivative of that. Boy, wow, we're going into the deep end here, fellas. So,
Yeah, it's interesting.
Muddy,
stuff.
St. Wolf, them shoulders holding up the whole damn chain right now.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe something to do with one of your calls, perhaps. Can you clarify that, Muddy?
Them shoulders holding up the whole damn chain, like
So,
literally, like
yeah,
a chain.
I think Muddy's saying that you got nice broad shoulders and you're holding
Oh,
up the chain.
Just from, yeah,
Oh, Muddy,
from holding up this microphone. No, just some dips.
Muddy the boy, what a lad. Yeah,
Thanks, Muddy.
Muddy's the one that prompted the Atropa movement. He's the one that said, he's the one that got this started. He's the one that got me into Atropa in the first place, actually. So Muddy,
Nice.
one day we'll have Muddy up here. So at the moment he's out working in the mines. That's something that we do a lot in Australia. That's where we make good money. Go work in the mines.
Really?
Make your money.
Damn.
Put it all into crypto.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Down in
So
the
he's out there. He's grinding. He's doing good. He's doing
what kind
good.
of mines? Like
All sorts, man.
gemstones,
Like
coal? What are we talking
everything.
about
Gold, coal,
Uranium.
here? No.
True that. You're one of the biggest exporters of uranium, Australia. Don't be shy.
Bro,
Yeah.
we're the biggest. We are sitting on so much here. We've got so much like abundance in Australia. It's not funny. Like our whole country could run on green energy. We're surrounded by oceans, so we can have tidal. We're like one of the hottest fucking places on the planet, so we can have geothermal. We got shitloads of wind because the whole thing is just flat, and there's so much wind. There's so much sun. Like Australia should be like leading in so many things, but we're not. We're always kissing America's ass and like oh, America, follow everything that they do. It's like pisses me off, man. Can't we just grow our own balls? Like Julian Assange, shout out to you, Julian Assange, one of my boys, finally got freed, for God's sake. Oh, all right.
We're all in the same boat, though. I think it's what the Germans are doing too. Is we're kind of the bitches of the US. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of like own foreign politics. You guys just blew up Nord Stream 2, and we were like, all right, what you gonna do about it? Nothing.
This is
I know,
not
that was
to
a
shit on
trick.
America, by the way. I love
Scary.
America. So
Sneaky.
it's just that Australia should do better.
Sneaky mofos. Let's be honest. Like, we're all from different mothers, but I feel like we're brothers in arms, and that's the most important. It's not the nationality. Fuck nationalism. You can be proud about the achievements of your nation, and I'm agreeing with that. Freedom is something that America built, but it's also be critical and just not be like only positive about what your country have done in the past. I feel like all people are different from different countries. There's assholes everywhere, and there's nice people everywhere. Don't generalize and hold the values up, because like if we don't reproduce these values, everything's just getting so empty nowadays. People are just like mindless zombies, too many, and I feel like it's a responsibility of all of us. It doesn't matter which nation you're from, to have some ethics and have some morals, and try to give that to your children, to the people around you. I don't want to live in a world where it's only Instagram and filters, and anything that's important is how you sell yourself to the world, but like more like what's in your inside. And that's the Genesis mindset for me too, Stephen, is like, it doesn't matter where you're from. It's more like, what is your consciousness? And that's how I see this.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Agreed.
I think, guys, we should be blessed that we have Richard Hart, that he has built something amazing. Freedom, freedom. And that is something that no other country does. I mean, he's actually doing something for the world to have actually freedom and not be part of the system. And I think that's
100%.
for us, it's very important. That's why I'm very thankful that RH has built incredible pulse chain ecosystem, a blockchain, and we are very glad to be part of it, and that we have the proper mindset to have our freedom back, and that's important.
Yeah.
I was listening to a clip from a Spaces the other day where someone was basically saying that RH has got enough liquidity that he can support the whole ecosystem very, very, very easily. So yeah. I mean, I don't want to speculate too much on SAC funds and all that kind of stuff, but even his personal funds, he'd probably have enough in his personal funds to probably just support the whole bloody ecosystem. And so, yeah, I just see opportunity with where we are with the
Of
ground
course.
floor and letting people in.
We will never know, right? We don't know if it's Richard or anyone, but yeah, if it's pump our back, so be it, man. I mean, let's go.
Yeah, I think this 414 and the Atropa is the best thing to happen to the community, because RH has created something really amazing, but the Atropa ecosystem and what it's doing is challenging people's worldview, especially about how crypto works and how it could be designed and how it should be designed going forward. And a lot of people are still waiting for things to just pump like they normally did, but they really don't understand, the liquidity bonding yet and all these connections that are being made, the networks underground, and what is really going to happen is going to blow people's minds. Like
Exactly. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, when this thing lifts, it's going to lift. Yeah.
And
hard.
Yeah, I've said it many times. I really do believe. I remember Somi in one of his videos was talking about like the pillars of cryptocurrency: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Uniswap. These were like the pillars. Chainlink. There's like these 4 foundational moments in cryptocurrency, and I believe that the Atropa ecosystem is the next one. Any blockchain that is not doing what the Atropa ecosystem is doing, we're so far ahead. We're a year ahead of every other chain already. They have no idea what's going on. Some of the boys, some of the lads, shout out to Holonomics, bringing this kind of concept over to Solana, but it's not happening on this scale because there's no singular dev that's like orchestrating it all. So we're miles ahead, and like I just have absolutely no, like, human greed is just, you can read it like a book, man. It's so predictable. There's nothing, like, everyone's freaking out. We're gonna have our pump. People are gonna go where there's going. All it's gonna take is just a few whales to start pumping the ecosystem up in the bull run, and then eyeballs are gonna come. That's it. And then when all the liquidity is drained from every other blockchain, they're gonna come here if there's still opportunity here. Like you can bet flies go to shit, humans go to greed. It's the same thing. It's not like, oh, is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen? You can write a book and it's a certainty because human greed is a certainty.
I wonder if we'll get any news about the SEC case on the 9th.
Oh yes,
July the 9th.
I actually thought it was. I thought it was pretty funny that the Atropa developer was going on a little vacation until the 9th, which is the same day we may get some news.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they're supposed to give a response back to Richard's lawyers, where they said they want to have a dismissal of the case based on the what do they call it? Like where he was living out of the country, so they may not have jurisdiction, basically, to charge him. So they have to respond to that by the 9th at the latest.
Okay.
Okay.
The SEC might try to milk this dump and delay it or add fuel to the fire. Who knows, though? I mean, a dismissal, I think, is the only thing that makes sense at this point.
Yeah, I just don't think. I don't know if it'll happen so soon. You know,
exactly.
they could. I mean, who knows? I mean, if they don't have any case, like when a lawyer brings a case to a judge, and or like they go to a trial or something like that, and they know they don't have a very big case. Usually the judge doesn't like that very much because they're wasting taxpayer dollars and things like this on something that they don't really have a solid foundation for anyways.
They're happy to waste it.
Yeah, I mean, the government's happy to waste it, but the judge is not happy when they see things happening because they think about the people. And so I think we do have a chance to see a dismissal, but I don't know if it'll be so soon. Maybe October.
Yeah.
I wanted to add something onto that. Most of people here are Americans. VET, you're living in England. I don't know if you realized that the EU just came out with a DeFi regulation, and it's fucking brilliant what Richard did with make it on your computer, like running the code on your computer, because it's exactly the exception, and he was foreseeing that stuff. How genius is that? He was already knowing they're going to regulate it, and he already had the idea how he could do it so he would not be under that regulation. I mean, how lucky are we to be on that one, because that's something that's happening right now. The old money is trying to get a grasp of this whole thing, is trying to control this thing because they're afraid. There's nothing else in this world which is challenging their position right now. Nothing. I'm honest. I always already was I said it to Maria, I didn't believe in any revolutions anymore. I was like, God, I'm not 16. I know how this world works. And I'm I just try to have my peace and mind in my little jungle house in the middle of nowhere because I know I can't change the whole world. I just can't change my surrounding and that's it. But that's why I'm so bullish on the RH system and Atropa, because both of them together are really revolutionary. And a lot of people don't get that, how revolutionary this really is, because it's putting the power that before was in, let's say, La Roca Negra, to quote Somi, and a lot of other horrible institutions into our hands. Not obviously from day to day to tomorrow. This is not a thing that's happening over 2 days, no? But it's the only system that I see right now which is actually challenging the status quo.
Yeah. And I certainly don't lose faith. I just have so much faith in this future that the system that's going to be created is it's running in alignment with a new consciousness that's being birthed on the planet too. Because if there's no new consciousness and we have a new system, we're going to end up just hitting the same brick wall that we hit with the current financial system. Greed is going to destroy the system as it has now, and it's going to ruin it. And so, it's a good time to be alive. Put it that way. That way. There's so many things that I see that are just it's like this is Armageddon. This is it. This is really it. This is where humans will finally take that leap, and all the things that we've ever dreamed of will come to fruition within our not within our lifetime, but we're going to see it get birthed.
Yeah. And it will continue.
I want to point out how cool it is that we have 5 guys here on stream right now. We're all in different countries. I think that's pretty
We
cool.
are.
Yeah. Are we? Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Normally even 5 different continents, because I'm in South America. You're North American, St. Wolf. We got England, Europe represented, and we got Australia, and we got Asia. With Zach living in Asia now, so I mean, even if we're not, I'm not technically South American, and you're not Asian, but at the same time, we're all living in a different world, kind of, and we're sharing the same passion.
The Atropa, man. Great. This is the Atropa movement.
No, it's hard to coordinate everybody in 5 different countries to get on a stream at one time.
The Americans are so slick.
Shout out to Steven for coordinating all this.
It is. There was always a sacrifice, and in the end, it was like, I'll end up just sacrificing because I'm staying up way.
You're up late, man.
So. Boys,
taking one for the team, man.
New people into the Atropa ecosystem. So if you're a newbie coming into the Atropa ecosystem, or someone's going to listen back to this, particularly the boys who went to Amsterdam, let's go around one by one. What is what would you say, Matty, to new people entering into the Atropa ecosystem, or someone that's just starting to learn about it?
What I would say is watch your videos. At least partially. I mean, I'll be honest. Watch obviously some other videos too, but Steven, you've done a great job. I'm not a person who kisses asses for no reason. Dude, you have done a great job explaining this stuff, taking time, making these videos. I don't have that time right now, and I appreciate you because you're giving these informations in a way, simplifying them so somebody who's a noob can actually understand it without having to invest hundreds of hours. I feel like, thanks again, Saint Wolf. You've been more recent to this space, but you've been really creating good videos too recently and streams that I've been really appreciating too.
Thanks, man.
And Zach, we don't have to talk about, dude. You have been on point for a long time. Even if you get shit for if the price goes down, everybody's like, you chilled it to us. You're an influencer. You're taking the hits, for the team.
I saw some Twitter was mad at Zach right now. Yeah.
And VT, I met you in person and instantly felt your positive vibe. And I was like, oh, you're a chill dude. You're a nice guy. I'm happy you're on the ATROPA movement too, because this is just expanding into something so positive, dude. Like, how many people are bitching right now and crying on Twitter? Mm-hmm. And I feel none of us are doing this, because we're all like, fuck bitching and being like a crybaby. God, there's so much worse problems in the world than red candles. Like, don't be a bitch about it.
They don't have the mindset, They don't have the proper mindset. I think that is the main key as well. They don't understand how the market works. They don't understand how crypto works. And if everyone knows how this works, of course everyone would be rich. So it's not for everybody, that's for sure. And I think exactly what you're saying. I mean, the videos of Steven, of Saint Wolf as well. I mean, for the newbies, for me still Atropa, it's like exploding in my mind, right? But if you just keep watching the videos over and over again, I'm still doing that as well, just 3, 4 times, 5 times, and Steven explaining that in a proper way, and also Saint Wolf, videos of yours. Appreciate you guys. I think you guys are the inspiration of this community, and you're spreading this worldwide, and that's just also a blessing, man. And it's free, guys, so just watch the streams, and you should be good.
Thanks, man. It is a blessing. It is a blessing, actually. I was looking at my website today and it showed the SEO, how people are actually finding it. And they're finding it through Atropa and Atropa Pulsechain and Atropa Pulsechain Ecosystem. And it's actually a blessing. If it ends up being as big as we all think it's going to be, it's like, oh, wow, like massive, massive blessing. So I'm just extremely grateful for the opportunity. So I appreciate the love, fellas. Zach, what about for yourself, for the newbies?
So what I would say to people that are new would be to make the blockchain explorer your best friend, basically. For people that are new to crypto, you have to get familiar with that because the Atropa ecosystem is all about the burn liquidity web, right? And when you're looking at certain tokens, or any token for that matter, you want to take a look at the holders list, and you need to see first and foremost how many holders there are, right? You need to see all the different liquidity pools and how much of a percentage of the supply is in that pool. So that's basically how I interpret if I'm like early or late to a certain crypto project, is I will go and see how much of the supply is left in the liquidity pool, right? And if there's multiple pools, then you can add them all up together and you can see how much is there, right? So if there's still 60, 70, 80% of a token supply in the liquidity pool, it means you're pretty early, unless that token has already had a year's worth of a run and now it's way down and there's a 90% supply in the liquidity again. It means everybody sold it, right? But in our case with Atropa, I mean, this is all brand new. And a lot of these tokens that maybe have even launched a year ago, right, like down, they still have 50, 60% of the supply in the liquidity pool, right? So this is obviously a token that's been overlooked by the majority. And I think it's a good opportunity, right? So there's going to be a lot of other tokens like this when you look through all the different ones. And honestly, when you go to, like, say something like Down, you can click on the different liquidity pools, and then you can see the other token that it's attached to, right? And so you can go deeper down into the rabbit hole, basically, of where these liquidity webs go, and you can find tokens that have 100,000 market caps still, that only have maybe 100 holders that nobody's talking about, and these are all just like fresh opportunities, basically. Yeah, that's basically what I would tell a newbie to start with, I guess, is just to get really familiar with the Blockchain Explorer, and looking at the different liquidity pools and kind of seeing how things are attached to each other.
So
I love that.
So you're suggesting that they don't shy away from tokens that still may have high inflation, where the main wallet or the 414 has most of the tokens?
So I think that those is pretty bullish, because I see the 414 just being able to seed future liquidity pools with the holdings that they have, since they typically don't usually dump them unless it's something like Treasury bill or something like that. They use those to fund different portions of the ecosystem. But yeah, no, I definitely see that as usually a bullish signal.
And where should they get most of their information? Like earlier in the stream, you mentioned Zizek, the 414 had given some alpha on it. I didn't hear about that. Where are you hearing about these first off from 414?
So in the IRC chat logs, right? Okay. So there's a website that I go to where somebody's keeping a log of the chat, and that is irc.atropa.blog. So it's going to have from the very beginning up till now, you can go every day, day by day, and read from all the past and up to now, obviously. And then there's also like the web chat IRC, which is like if you want to go in and talk, you can use that. It's the same feed, obviously the same chat, but in the IRC logs, they had mentioned that they will be removing their assets from Zizek. If you scroll down a little bit, Stephen, you'll see it. Yeah, right there.
A lot of good comments like this too.
Oh, okay. If you go back one day, that's where the actual message was.
By pulling Zizek.
Zizek removes my position as loan giver. Okay, I got you. So let's put a link down for everyone for this one.
Yeah, that would be great. I just wanted to ask if you could do that so people get an easy access. And also, again, Maria is partially a troll. I'll be honest with you. He likes to joke. Yeah. He likes to make fun. Don't take every word you're reading there to the heart. Like, it's something that people do way too often, take shit out of context and then be like judgmental. Don't do that. He also said to Almighty that he's freestyling with himself in the IRC chat, like battle rapping himself. So, yeah. And I feel like I'm not down with the N-word. Let's be honest. Like my girlfriend's half black. I'm not like, this is chill to read. Like I'm definitely not like a super sensitive person when it comes to that. Like, but I'm not using that as a white guy. I feel like that's not proper for me. Just my background as being German and having slightly issues in our past with racism, But like, same time, he also likes to troll people to keep them away right now, because something that we were talking about 100%. Super early. So he doesn't want to have malignant people in the system, and he's trying to keep them away through this trolling, just to keep that in mind and not be like Sota or other people be like, oh yeah, he's a fucking racist and he's a piece of shit and I don't know what. I'm like, all right, if that's for you, it's probably even better. I don't want you to be part of this anyway, after looking what you're doing all the time, fudding everybody and trying to make everybody look like shit. But like, in a sense, I'm not taking to the heart in it. I met him. I don't consider him to be a racist after I talked to him. And the same thing goes for Almighty or for Steady Pup. We all don't think he's a racist, but just to say that he likes to make jokes. Don't take every word to the heart.
Did he tell you that? Or is that the sense that you get, that he's trying to keep the wrong kind of people away from the ecosystem by portraying himself as a troll? Or is that something that he said to you?
He didn't say that to me. I just read it between the lines. I don't think I'm a genius, but I'm a pretty empathetical person who normally can understand how people work. And I just looking at the stuff with the AI too. That was just a joke. It was just a little trolling joke. It's like, do you really think he thinks that Vitalik and Richard are AIs? Like, are you that like naive, that ingenuine? No, but She does that to keep people away, exactly that type of people, like the, let's say, like the try to exploit Atropa quickly people, and it's necessary right now, because if not, like they might get too big of a position, you know. I feel like that's the whole idea.
What about the I just lost my train of thought. The number generator. I ended up tweeting about that, and like, do you think that was a troll, or do you think that was a legitimate thing? Because there was like, even Eric Wall commented on that post as well.
Legitimate in my opinion, but I'm completely understandable, because if I'm not a quantum physicist, but I understand what a superstate is, and the only way to have a truly coincidental number generator is a superstate, a quantum physical superstate that is not defined, that is not yet defined. How can you do that on a not quantum computer? My mind is not ready to understand that yet. Again, I'm not a quantum physicist or quantum mechanic guy, but like that's as far as my philosophical background goes. And that's mind-blowing, because if that's really true what he's saying, that's the first time in human history that exists. A lot of mathematicians say it's not even possible to have true, like, have a true, like, randomness itself is not really programmable until right now. If that's true, that's probably one of the biggest parts of making Atropa revolutionary. But again, would be nice to have some quantum physicists look into that, and I'm not capable.
Yeah.
Maddie, also, because of your experience with the Pulsechain tours, how do you feel like the atmosphere was at this particular one with the Atropa crew versus previous ones that you might have been on, or the Hex tour that you would have been on? Was there any difference?
I can just compare Amsterdam and Berlin. I would lie. I've not been to the States and the Hex tour back in the days, and that's just really where I started, is first Amsterdam, then Berlin. If I compare Amsterdam to Berlin, Amsterdam felt like the beginning of a movement of something just completely new. Berlin felt like trying to give that message to the German audience as close as possible, because they have not been there, but a lot of them was really interested. And it was me, Koa, Steady Pup, and me sitting there answering Q&A about Atropa. And that felt great, because all of the three of us shared the same mindset, and we were giving that mindset to the German audience, not trying to compare us as a cult thing or the apostles giving the message or something, you know, but it felt like being a messenger for Maria as much as we could, because we would have loved to have Maria on every of these tour dates, but we also know he got a life besides this, and he got stuff to work on. But it's how it felt a little bit, like spreading the gospel without taking it to that level, you know. I'm not saying he's my cult leader or my guru, just to make that clear.
No, I love the analogy though.
So there was a lot of curiosity as well with the German audience for that.
Sure, definitely. I mean, it's one of the first things that everybody's asking me all the time. It's like, oh, what other information do you have? We got like stalked by this Dutch guy who's like literally following us to a coffee shop just to get more info out of us. Like, what else did you say? What else? You know, it was just like, dude, like, we don't have all the answers. Like, there's a million questions. Only Maria got all the answers, and I think he got his plan how he's going to reveal them. So that's how I see it.
So in the future, when the Bible 2.0 comes out, Maddie, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. All right, boys.
Also, Steve, something to present. Something. Let me share my screen. Something for the audience as well.
Yep.
Let me just see. So, let me see. Okay,
Do you want me to add it to stage?
You can see the screen?
Not yet. I'll add it now, though. So, Richard Hart?
Yeah, so for the people at home, the newbies, they are searching for answers how real DeFi works. So for me, it really helped the Richard Hart videos. I mean, you should definitely check that out. Scroll down to all his videos. Just sit down, watch and listen. He will make sense at all, and it will definitely help you what real DeFi is, and you can learn more about you can learn more stuff. And then you have, of course, I would recommend also to, let me see, how can I share the screen on this side? Let me just, and also to understand if you want to buy tokens, it's very important to go to the right website, of course, and just try to learn how the Pulsex, how the DEX really works, and just try playing around with it, and that's very important as well. I think that's for the most of the people very important, how to buy the tokens, how to buy a Tropa with the right contract address. Just playing around with it is very important. And yeah, and the one thing also.
And learn about liquidity pools on Pulsex
Exactly.
as well.
Exactly. It's very interesting to farm as well. And then the last thing I would recommend, also important, the definition of the history of money. I think that should be very important as well. That's many people, they don't know where money came from, how money is created, and I think you should definitely check that out. What is money? What this money is for, and how it's created, so you know exactly how the history of how the humans, people like us, created money. Then you have a better understanding of the history of money. I think that should be very important for the people as well. But because there are a lot of people, they don't understand money. They don't search answers for what is money exactly. So I think that should be very important as well, and it should be very yeah. I think that should be very important to to
That's a good
to
point.
get more into the monies. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube as well, explaining what money is, how money works, and yeah, I think that should be very interesting for the people. They are starting in crypto, this journey, because try to understand the history of money and go in the DeFi space in crypto, so that is in RH ecosystem, because you will eventually, if you invest in crypto, you'll eventually be managing your crypto, your money. So they have a better understanding of everything.
Yeah, and understanding the concept that monetary systems that aren't aligned with nature collapse. They all
Yes.
collapse without exception. They all last up to like 100 years. So the US dollar is really at its climax.
Exactly.
It's at its climax. We all know that it's dead.
If people are really know exactly where money came from, and they are finding the answers, there are a lot of videos. They'll be mind blown. Like, really, is this how we get fucked by the government? Is this the really? I did it. There are many people, they don't know how it works, so they will be shocked, to know how we get fucked, right? I mean, that's basically. I think it's a very important information to know.
Definitely. All right, boys. Anyone else? Should we round this up? It's getting on nearly 2 hours now. Anyone else want to add or contribute anything
on what VT just said? Money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is why PDI, it's so extremely important. Why the pegging of it is everything to Pulsechain. It's going to be the center of the system, and having a decentralized stablecoin is it's everything. And so people need to understand why that's so high in the hierarchy of what RH needs to accomplish. Yeah. Because it is a game.
Totally.
The money thing is a game, and having your own decentralized pillar of that is key to DeFi.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and if you want to just look at it in terms of your X's, it's pretty damn good. It's a 413x.
That too.
So to a
You
dollar.
might,
If you want to
you
just
know, the
look it up.
thing is also with people, they have to question themselves, like, what you really want, right, in life. Do you want freedom? Do you want to work, for the government or anything? Just you have to answer the question yourself, like, do you want to experience freedom? Uh, just go deeper in this stuff. I mean, not so entirely with politics. I mean, but you can follow the politics as well. Then you see exactly what they are doing with the country and or in the world. And if you understand you then what they are doing or what they did in the past and doing now to destroy the dollar and anything, our pocket money, inflation, then yeah, then you will be definitely uh, lurking towards DeFi space and freedom, and that's where your answer is going to come.
Yeah. And if this really is doing what we all see it potentially doing, then you better bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be coming for this ecosystem in every way, shape, and form. They'll already be here with their fucking octopus tentacles everywhere. They'll already be everywhere, looking at everyone, trying to figure
Yes.
out what's happening with who and what. You better bet your bottom dollar on that. So it's like it's an exciting time because it's like, oh, we're at the cusp of a revolution, but it's a quote unquote scary time. And I'm going to use quote unquote because the truth always wins. They've already lost. They've already lost the war, but they're fighting and they're holding on with their greedy fucking fat hands, but they've already lost the war. They cannot win. You can't beat justice and truth. Simple. Period.
No, you can't.
Fuck all of you. If you're watching this, fuck all of you. My fingers go up to you.
You can only beat it if you can only beat it by freedom and go to DeFi, man, and search your freedom. That's very important, man. And
Exactly.
I mean, there is another politician is coming to screw everything up. You cannot rely on them. You have to make your life your own, your freedom. Make it yourself, and just don't rely on those system. You can wait years, but they will still fuck up everything, and inflation still going to rise. So you should be really be aware of what's happening.
But for now, we can certainly capitalize on it. And St. Wolf has got some awesome videos on looking at the global liquidity index. I would definitely recommend people go and watch that. Really simplifies it and breaks it down in a very clear way. These are the kinds of trends that we can continue to capitalize on while that old system is dying. Make the most of it. Be the builder of the new world.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah, my last video was on global liquidity index. In there, you can see the hint that the market was about to violently turn down. I think some people saw it and sent me a message recently.
You nailed it.
I nailed it exactly as predicted. But on May 30th, I also put a video out saying a crash is coming. And then the GLI video I put out just not even a week ago was pretty much telling us that the crypto market has to violently move to match the GLI liquidity index, which is in the trillions. So, when you have a $1 trillion market like crypto, it has to bend to the global liquidity index. So there's a lot of other things you can look at too, but I think a lot of people in crypto were looking at crypto metrics, and that's not the way to look at it now because we are connected to the global system more than ever before. So, we have to bend the knee. So hope some people saw that and were able to prepare.
But it's opportunity for the boys.
It was opportunity for some of us. Was that? Was that? Charlotte was upset at that.
What's that? Someone's upset?
I think he was giving the middle finger to the BlackRock, I guess, and bigger powers.
Who's that?
That's right. I mean, that's exactly what Richard is doing, right? I mean, he knows that's why he built a better DeFi system for us, for to have the freedom. And God bless, and you should definitely. Richard is really. I follow his Twitter account as well, and he has some very amazing, good stuff, information that he's gaining. Like, for example, last time he was saying something about who was suing the government for violating their freedom of movement or something.
Freedom of
I was
speech.
thinking, yeah. So I was thinking, like, exactly, those guys are they are years, centuries destroying everything, and who's suing them? I mean, what gives them the right to to print money, for example, out of thin air, and trying to destroy the DeFi world,
Do you know
So
what's sad? That they have people that work for them that genuinely believe they're doing the right thing. They've been so thoroughly corrupted, their minds are so thoroughly polluted that they think that they're on the good guy's side, but they're actually on
they
the
are
bad
not.
guy's side. They're
Yeah.
on the side of the devil, but they don't realize it. It's
Yeah.
really a pity. It's really a pity because a lot of them are probably good, God-loving men, but they're on the side of the devil.
Yeah.
It's a
A
pity.
lot of it is just incentive structures. At the end of the day, a lot of people are incentivized to push certain levers, and they're going to push those levers. And you see the same thing in crypto. When the incentive structures are there to move one way, the crowd moves that way, and that's just how it is.
Exactly. That's how it is. Yeah.
That's how it is. And these people have taken power from a long time, and they've got this game in place. And we got to play that game. And crypto is your best bet at winning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add on to that thing because, like, if you try to be free, that comes with some responsibility. A lot of people like to give away responsibility and be like, I just want to follow and have an easy one, just be like, let the government take care of that. Let this stuff take care of that. If you try to be free, that means also you have to fucking be informed. You have to be self-responsible. Like, don't rely on what other people say and have your own mindset. And that means also it's work, it's time, it's effort. It's not like it comes alone. People like to have everything just handed to them. Like, eat this, consume this, watch this. Just be a mindless fuck. Just zombie your mind out. And that's one of the things I honestly realized on, I give that an honest one, on psychedelics when I was 17. I was like, this world is rocked. People are mindless. They don't even know who they are. And if you don't know who you are, how are you going to be self-responsible or free if you're just a puppet, And I'll be honest with that. I hope that most people on this planet will awake at a certain stage and realize how long they have been asleep. Because for me, it's sad to see so many people waste away their life on something that doesn't even make them happy. And that's for me the most important thing. And I feel like crypto is a tool to that. But again, without the mindset, like you said earlier, Stephen, nothing's going to change. So for me, it's a pleasure to be with you guys talking about these things and having these conversations, not just talk about how to make maximum access, but also how about like to be your own person.
The thing is, eventually,
we are blessed to have this conversation.
Exactly.
Totally blessed to be able to chat like this. Yeah.
Eventually you have, again, if you're in crypto and you will have gains, you still have to manage your wealth, and that is also exactly what you're saying, like mindset. You need to have the proper mindset to manage your wealth and be playing this game,
Totally. But all of it will come to fruition because for me, it's like people think I'm delusional when I talk about these things in an inevitable sense, but it's really just like it's like the logical flow of for me, it's just like physics. Like, people will eventually wake up because by virtue of the fact that other people are waking up around them, it just creates a chain reaction that is just it's just physics. It's not like people think it's like some sort of spiritual thing, but it's very like grounded in science, in my opinion. So yeah,
we are blessed to have the mindset that's been given,
that's been given 100%. I love that.
Yeah, and not everyone has it. So
That's very true. Yeah. So always operating from the right mind to help others as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Boys, any closing statements?
I just want to say thanks for having me on, Stephen. It's always great to see you and all you guys too. I really hope we can do this again. Super bullish, obviously, on the whole Atropa ecosystem, and I know the green candles are coming. Yeah, so just hold on, guys. I think I'm gonna go buy another million PETA here soon. So, load up.
Yeah, it's coming to that point. Exactly. Great advice.
Get in there, Zach.
Very smart. Very
Stephen,
smart.
thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. And Zach, thanks for all your tweets. Loving them. And it was a pleasure to meet you guys too.
Thanks, St. Wolf. Yeah. BT, Maddie, closing statements.
Yeah. Now, once again, thank you, Steve, for having me here. I mean, it's just a blessing to be here, and also to be in the Pulsechain and the RH ecosystem, Atropa as well. I think we're going through some amazing times, so just keep holding. I mean, Steve, what you are doing, it's amazing. You know it already from my side. Just keep going what you're doing. Keep making this wonderful content. St. Wolf, also, you're an amazing guy. I always see your content. It's amazing. I could definitely recommend checking all of those videos, guys. And I mean, just keep buying the RH tokens and the Atropa ecosystem as well. And you should be good then. No financial advice, though.
Gotta put that in there.
We have to mention it. We have to mention no financial advice. Hey,
exactly.
Stephen, thanks for organizing this. I've been keen on talking about this for a while, but I was like, I'm going to wait until I'm in this round. I'm not going to make a video by myself where I hold a monologue about what I talked to Maria with, but rather be in good companion with people I really appreciate and appreciate your effort, appreciate the spaces. Hopefully we do this again sooner than later to keep up the good vibes for the community. And whatever I can do to spread the word, I also really hope that I start finally with some Spanish-speaking content, because I feel like it's being very excluded, the continent where I'm living at. And that's something that I feel like is actually really positive for South America, because there is a lot of people in need of just what we were talking about. I heard, Zach, when we were talking about in person too, that you're trying to spread the word in Thailand, even if you don't speak Thai, because it's not that easy to learn, not that easy of a language. But all these efforts add up, and I'm very happy to be part of this movement, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Love it. And we got AI as well. So we can just get AI to do auto translate of our videos, really. I mean, that's really the world that we're living in now. So thanks for joining, fellas. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the comments. Everyone in the chat as well. All the people that stuck around to the end. Thank you, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed. We'll continue to do this. I really enjoy these. We'll continue to do these maybe monthly, bi-monthly, not too sure. Whenever big things kind of happen. I mean, as Zach was talking, I thought, oh man, we haven't even mentioned dysnomia. Barely. I mean, we spoke about Discworld Mud, but there's kind of not much developments there. But like, we're really there's going to be forever new things coming up with this whole ecosystem. So there's always going to be something to talk about, which is very, very exciting. So, I'll just leave it with that. And I'm glad people are enjoying these chats. I know it looked like a lot of people were really enjoying it. So I enjoyed it, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it as well. So I'll end the stream. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your weekends and your evenings, and take care.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys, man.
See you.
Later.
Peace out.